Hi, my name's Melissa.
My name's Tess.
My name's Sarah.
My name's Nicole.
My name's Anita.
And I'm Georgia.
And we decided that we're going to be doing our group on anti-homophobia. We went to Rainbow Youth in the city and we talked to them about what kind of challenges they had with homophobia. And you had a bit on that, didn't you?
So they're an organisation, so if people are having difficulties with their sexuality, they can turn to for support. They offer support for people who are transsexual, gay, lesbian, or who are just unsure of their sexual orientation. The term sexual orientation is known as an umbrella term, and that's used to describe sexuality and gender identities. They aim to help rural, queer and trans youth feel valued, recognised and supported in their local communities by providing support, education, advocacy and information. They go into schools and teach students how to break homophobia, and they're trying to give them the information needed in order to stand up to homophobia and support and try and understand people's sexual orientation.
Cool. We thought that kind of related to education because
They're going into schools, educating the children about
Kind of bringing awareness into...
and helping teachers and stuff as well.
And stereotypes and with boys and girls and gender, and you know, it starts early if you can.
try to aim away from just stereotyping each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know, for kids to find their sense of identity and giving a real sense of well-being. Obviously, that's what we want to provide as ECE teachers, and being having diverse perspectives on gender, sexual diversity, whatever.
Teachers are being educated on how to sort of deal with different sexualities and things like that. So it's informing teachers, and there's constantly professional development going on.
Okay, we all discussed that in regards to early childhood education, we need to be aware of from a young age that we're in direct control of what we are, as the way we communicate with children makes them think. Children look up to us and listen to what we say. Because of this, we discussed that from a young age. I've noticed that we kind of discriminate, but not intentionally. We tell boys, we'll say boys go to the bathroom first, or girls go do this, or we will, if a boy wears a dress, we'll question it, or
We'll make a deal out of it.
Whereas a girl wears a dress, there's no problem, and that makes us kind of telling them that you are a boy and you are a girl and you've got to be that.
Yeah.
Whereas
There's a correct way.
Whereas the people at Rainbow Youth were saying that there was 1.4% of people that aren't they're born into the wrong body, or
they don't feel comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah. So I guess that changes the way that we, relate to children, and we do in practice and stuff, and also, but you also see it,
how we approach gender.
Changing maybe the way we're doing things or saying things to them.
Language.
And you also see it with dads quite often. If you're doing nail polish in a centre, and they're like, "Oh no, you can't. My boy can't wear that," or you see it. You see it quite a bit.
I feel like kids, that they should be able to express
themselves
themselves and have a voice, and if they want to be dressing up as a princess one day, then that's completely
fine. They can do
fine.
that. It doesn't mean it's just...
It shouldn't really be judged, and people jump to conclusions thinking, he's going to grow up to be gay if he carries on like this.
It's
It's probably making it harder for children to come out by sort of saying that that's wrong.
From day one, if you're telling them that you are a boy and and this is wrong to do that, then how will they feel when they realise that they are in the wrong? They're going to take longer to get used to it, because they're going to be like, oh no, but everybody told me that I was a...
Well, by setting up those stereotypes, we could be helping the bullies as well.
That's definitely true.
And it's sort of closing the minds of people to think, broader and actually see it for what it is, and not just closing down the whole idea that, you know, people can be born into the wrong gender, and just trying to eliminate that as much as possible as teachers.
And in early childhood, we're the first ones that they come to, really.
Yeah.
So we are where it all starts.
You
so
have a big responsibility to set them up.
Exactly. If there's teachers going around saying, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, then that's how they'll think for the rest of their life. Or that's, you know, that's...
And that's setting them up for that.
Yeah. So I think, because like it's not really discussed in centres if you want to be a different gender or anything like that.
No, because it's so, you know, they are younger. It's not, you know, it's,
But if they want to wear a dress, they can wear a dress.
Yeah, and I think that maybe that could be provoked more in schools, like just explaining that sometimes if you don't want to wear, you know, like a dress at school, you can wear different things, you know, like I feel like it shouldn't all just be.
And that's also is helping with their self-confidence. If they want to do it, just do it.
Yeah. And just
they're
by
experimenting and they're exploring and they're just...
And by telling them it's okay, they're going to feel much more better and safe.
Yeah. You know, I feel like there's like a connotation of being wrong by doing it. You want to lift that off, that wrong, you know, and have it be that they're comfortable. And that's like what was mentioned at Rainbow Youth from that recording was how they want companies and education systems to put in policies the difference between what was it? It was sexual diversity and
Sexual orientation and transgender, is it?
I wrote it down what I heard repeated, but anyway it was the whole separating the two and giving them two definitions. It allows an identity for them, so they can say I'm either it's not closing
otherwise
it down
they're
to
all
one
put into one group
category.
and then
they don't fit, you know, the
that's
idea
when
of being
there's loopholes and like policies and all that, because they'll be like, actually, but no, you're transgender or you're this, but
which I think that most people don't understand, which is like Rainbow Youth was saying, and now that sort of that gay marriage is legal, they think that their work is done, but it's not, because we have to now focus on sort of putting those like trans and
giving names,
gays,
you know, like
different categories of
defining
workplaces.
Exactly, because then lines just get blurred and people are still left in the dark. You know, it's not really educating us.
But then with the whole gay marriages and everything coming in, talking about how that's getting accepted more, but we're still so unaware about transgender and everything that goes on. You know, the
idea of being stuck in the wrong body. You know, they just think, oh, you're either gay or lesbian or whatever. It's not that mindset. It's the fact that I was born in the wrong body and I'm trying to, you know, figure out how I go from it, and that's a huge struggle for youth.
And I feel like it is definitely hard, and so having those policies in place would make people a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, well, it gives them an identity, doesn't it? It says like I can belong to this. You know, I don't have to just be put into a lump group and still be confused. And it eliminates that.
It's already such a hard process for the person that to have all that on top of it just needs to.
They were saying that there's actually a lot more people out there that are trans that we don't sort of think there's a big group.
But it's not so out there as it's not talked about.
Like gay marriage, it's not talked about. It's not like,
and then we discussed that last week in the media. It's kind of made fun of. There's nothing really on a serious note.
Yes, exactly. Like it's all they do make fun of the whole transgender.
Having artists and musicians or whatever sort of advocate for gay rights and gay marriage, that's great. It gives them a platform in the media, but it's not really evident for transgenders, you know.
Although they were saying that society's perceptions have changed over the years of queers and trans, and that's been with the help of like media, TV programs,
and celebrities,
and because of that, young youth are feeling more comfortable to come out younger.
Compared to the old days where it was definitely you
sort of hidden away.
Exactly. You wouldn't really want to come out in the public, and there's quite a lot of people, especially in their jobs as well, openly coming out. So that's always good to see.
Rainbow Youth was saying a way that we could sort of help break that barrier, especially in all gender schools, is to maybe add like an extra toilet where it's shared,
multi-sex,
unisex. So it's not just down to like you're just a girl, you're just a boy, you have to use this bathroom.
Yeah, because Rainbow Youth was also explaining if you are in same-sex schools, it's also very hard for you to come out if you're wanting to be a guy because there's so many girls.
There's so much pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So having those other elements where they can kind of feel like their own, I think would benefit a lot for the kids.
And they are there to counsel the youth through that, and that's what Rainbow Youth are actually for.
There, they do help.
Support.
Yeah, support them
them.
through their new changes.
Going to Rainbow Youth, and
Yeah.
you know, at the I'm trying to get my word, but at the
Explain it.
beginning when we first thought of it, we were kind of like, oh, is
How do we
it
go
how
about-
do we go? It was a bit nervous because it was like, well, what? We
Like,
don't want to
it's a
step on
bit touchy,
toes. It's
yeah.
a bit of a touchy subject.
Controversial.
That goes for in schools as well. Like if
The more-
talked
If it's talked about
Yeah,
in
more
school, the more
information that there's provided,
People
and the
feel
more
more
comfortable.
comfortable.
Yeah.
The more information, the more knowledge, and you know, you can't be harmed by knowledge. You know?
Yeah.
which is why it's important that they are going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
everybody.
really,
And as teachers,
really
for
good
us,
idea.
if we're starting from a young age, and we're
Yeah.
saying, hey, this is okay. This is
Yeah.
it's okay to be whoever you are. You know, you can be an authentic version of
set
yourself.
Yes.
It's setting them up for their next chapter into the education. We're their
Definitely.
first teachers, and in that sense,
Yeah, definitely.
Because when I was at school, there was no education about it.
No.
Like there
No.
was,
It was sort of just
Nothing.
forgotten about.
and like
in a
kids
way.
would go around and you'd be like, oh, you're gay, rah, rah, and you know, now it's sort of frowned upon to
Yeah.
go around saying that.
Yeah.
And kids are a lot,
but they're
they're a
coming
lot more
more
respectful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Than we used to be.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But that's because people are more aware of it.
Yeah,
and
educated.
Educated. It's not like it's not something that they're unsure of, or they're like, what's going on, or
Yeah.
Awareness is key, right?
The reason, like when we were having a research on when we got the topic, that we all felt really strongly about anti-homophobic, we all kind of realised that it wasn't really brought up in schools, and we kind of wanted to learn more about the subject.
It was something we're unsure of and didn't know how to really
Just
go about it.
about
yeah,
it.
really out of our comfort zone.
And
Yeah.
what
Yes,
words do we
definitely.
use? What terms
Yeah.
do we, you know?
And we've come a really long way since we chose the topic.
Yeah. We were a bit nervous when we went to Rainbow Youth. We were kind of unsure how we would go.
because we were so unaware in a way. Like you said, we didn't really know what words, how we were actually going to put our questions, because what words were
Acceptable,
or
yeah.
you know, we didn't know much about it, but
Yeah.
it's amazing how much we do know now just from talking about it. And
Yeah. and
Gaining more information and
Yeah.
awareness on the subject, and making it by having that knowledge, where we're so much more comfortable in the terms and the language used, and that's what we need to do as teachers. We need to provide that for the young, you know, ECE pupils, that it's okay to be familiar with these words. It's okay to be comfortable in this in the subjects, and that by doing so they can connect more of an identity to it. And
It's okay to be okay with yourself.
yeah,
Like,
you can be your true authentic self,
Yeah.
your true version of yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like when we were doing the research, there wasn't really much organisations that really focused on gay or lesbian or transgender or anything like that. So
We were quite lucky to find Rainbow.
yeah, Rainbow Youth.
Yeah.
So it's a small
Definitely.
organisation in Auckland, and they just they really focus on the youth, so up to 18 years. But then
But they have found that a lot of uni students do drop by their office, well, their organisation, seeking support and advice.
yeah, just
So-
I feel like it's
We definitely feel that there should be an organisation set up to help support older people.
yeah,
But-
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, but
Yeah.
18 age.
Because you still need support no matter what your age is.
Mm.
Exactly,
most
like we said,
definitely.
as long as there is homophobia,
Yeah.
there's going to be need for support,
It doesn't
Mm.
matter what.
advocacy, and education. You know,
Yeah.
that awareness.
It doesn't matter like what age you are. You come out when you're ready and comfortable.
Yeah.
I feel like that shouldn't be set from 0 to 18. I feel
No.
like quite a lot of people come out, especially with the 1.4% that we discussed before. I feel like there's
Yeah.
so many people out there that obviously aren't comfortable with coming out, and so if we make those organisations, then they might feel a bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Creating awareness for older people that are gay or transgender.
Still having those
because-
support agencies, so
Yeah.
like Rainbow Youth, something that's emulated for the older,
yeah.
over 18
Over
year olds.
18s, yeah.
And
Um,
sometimes it's harder for the older people because they're more
Stuck in their ways.
stuck in
Yeah.
their ways, and it is, and sometimes it's not a new thing, but it's becoming more like talked about.
Yeah.
But back in 30, 40 years ago, it wouldn't have been.
That was
So
correct.
people that were born in that generation are now like, okay, I'm so it's
Change is hard, and there needs to be a huge change. So people that have had longer sort of existence with older mindsets and views, it's so much harder to change that. You know, these are, you know, if you think when you're brought up in something and your parents or people that you respect, teachers, whatever, they've said that, no, that's wrong, you're so much more inclined to believe that. So to change your perspective.
Yeah, but they sort of do skip out
But they don't
the uni age.
Especially because there can be so much struggles with uni work and everything like that.
uni work and then
I feel like there should be some sort of organisation that they can go to. Like Rainbow Youth is fine, but it's not really based for that age group, because Rainbow Youth also does a lot of go to primary schools and colleges to talk
they're
about
quite
it.
about going into like education sectors and talking to them and I guess
informing them so
Yeah.
they can inform students. I guess.
yeah, pretty it's good. Like even just being at Rainbow Youth, you felt quite at home.
Yeah,
Like
you
it was
felt really
just
comfortable.
comfortable. It was
It was a safe place.
it was like it was
definitely
nice
felt
and
like that.
And the people
everyone was
there-
welcoming. They were great
And when we
and
were going in there to talk about, our sexual feelings, that it would be
Yeah.
comfortable,
Yeah.
you'd
We
feel.
went in there
we-
quite nervous.
Yeah, we went in there
And
very
by the
We
end of it,
left. We
so
were like,
comfortable.
wow, that was
And that's what needs to be implemented in schools and businesses and all those kind of organisations that needs to have that feeling of safety.
Yeah.
And it's sad that a lot of transgender people in particular end up either prostitution is their way of needing to have their needs met, and it's sort of like a dark place that they end up escaping to, and that's why statistically there's a high risk of depression and suicide.
because they're just not understood.
Now that the new gay marriage has come in, the future generation, they're going to grow up with that. They're not going to know any different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna
exactly.
be the normal.
That's acceptable now.
Yeah.
But
I feel like plans still need to be put in place, especially for transgender, so that
Yeah.
they can also feel as comfortable.
the education of transgender, like what was sort of mentioned about, it's hard for transgender people to have IDs or passports because connecting to their old gender or what they were born into is something that's really hard for them, and that's not really understood by teachers or
especially
other businesses or or corporations. They don't understand the understanding of not wanting to relate to that gender.
So when you go for job interviews, they have to be mindful, the interviewers.
Yeah.
But then also they find it hard because they could have different names. So it's hard to go through the process of getting a passport and all that because
They no longer relate to the name that they were born with. They have a new identity.
That's reminds me of what the guy at Rainbow Youth was saying about like applying for jobs and stuff. You don't know if you're getting discriminated because you could have on your CV like, I've worked at Rainbow Youth, so they're like, okay, obviously they've got some, if they got two CVs, one that worked at Rainbow Youth, one that hadn't, they could be discriminating without anybody knowing about it. So you're just thinking, oh, I'm not getting the jobs, but really you're getting discriminated against.
So we came up with a action plan starting from early childhood, really.
Yeah, the need to have a within education sectors and businesses, and that, and within the policy, it's stated the difference between sexual orientation, gay, lesbian, and transgender, and having these clear definitions between them, so that if anything was to happen, they have
Something to come back on.
they have some sort of legal, document that they can be represented.
And it shows that they're respected. It shows that they're welcome. Like to say
they're identified.
Yeah, really, like instead of just throwing it all into one basket or one policy, it shows that this
been looked at deeper.
this workplace or this organisation supports it, or
exactly.
Which is starting to happen.
Yeah.
Like it has come into action at the ASB.
ASB.
And what was the tick of
The rainbow tick.
the rainbow tick,
yeah,
which
It's
pretty
like a
much
seal of
says they're
approval,
completely they're completely okay with with
joining the workforce.
And being your
Yeah.
true self was
Yeah.
the message that they wanted to sort of spread, that you can come and work for ASB and be your true self,
Yeah.
and you will be accepted. You will
Yeah.
be just as worthy, or
It just makes, just to have that there will make someone feel more confident and just comfortable just to go in there and ask for a job or work there and just know that they're supported. And
part of our action plan will be in an ECE teachers not being aware of not stereotyping gender roles. So if boys want to dress up in dress-ups that are more girly or whatnot, those kind of connotations, our language, you know, we have to become really aware of
We
that.
shouldn't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, exactly. That we should
Make
all
them
be
feel
in.
that they're doing something wrong. Or
Exactly. Take away that wrong or that being right way,
Yeah,
you know,
if
correct.
yeah, they
As
should be free to
teachers,
do what they want.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to be open-minded.
Exactly.
And especially when those real early years, it's all about exploration. This
Yeah.
is their
Yeah.
first attempts of
yes,
finding themselves and
yeah.
what they like, what do they feel comfortable with, and this is, we need to create this environment in ECE where
starts
they
with
can
us.
explore it
yeah, it's
completely.
And if
Yeah.
we sort of put onto them that that's wrong, they're going to grow up thinking, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
we shouldn't do that.
We're,
Yeah.
we're their first point of call apart from
Yeah.
their parents, you know.
Yes, exactly.
So this is, you know, it's really important for us, you know.
And especially for parents that might be a bit iffy about the subject,
Yeah.
especially if the centre itself is expressing themselves and letting the children dress up and be whoever they want to be. It might make them feel a bit more comfortable if their children are doing that in their house. 'Cause
And that's
then-
why the relationship between teachers and parents needs to be really clear, because we want to spread that knowledge that we have. If we have parents that are coming in and they're not okay with it and they're still stuck in their ways, you know,
Be able to inform
communicating
Yeah.
and providing that knowledge that this is okay.
So we all did individual surveys at different centres, asking different centre managers or teachers how they felt about gay people working in their centre and how people have gone about that. So most of ours were the same, and we had one that was slightly different.
That was with my one, but it wasn't that they had someone in their workforce that was discriminated, but she knew of another centre where her friend worked that was a lesbian and she was discriminated. Not to her face, it was behind her back, but then she would later obviously hear that they've been discriminating against her, and obviously she didn't feel comfortable in that work environment, so it did end up leading her to leave.
We had, most questions were like, have you ever had someone working with you that is gay, and how did the centre go about that? Well, gay and transgender, yeah. Mine in particular did not have an issue at all, and I think we all found
Yeah, we
all
the
found
same.
Open-mindedness.
Yeah.
There was also, apart from Melissa's one, no one had any discrimination towards the gay teachers or the gay parents that were at the centre or transgender. One interesting one that I had was, how do you deal with students who may have two mums or two dads? And my centre actually has a child that has two mums. She told the teacher one time that she wanted to make a Father's Day card for her mum because she had two mums. So obviously the teacher just let her do that because she felt that, you know, if that's what the child wants to do, then that should be what she should do. Children obviously asked why, and she said, because I don't have a dad and someone has to look after me, which I thought was quite cool. And so the teacher just explained to the children that some children have a mum and a dad, and some may have two mums or two dads.
And that's
along those
okay.
lines.
That's a normal family.
Yeah.
That you know,
I
it
mean,
doesn't have to be
yeah.
the nuclear mum and dad,
No.
brother,
Yeah.
sister, whatever. You know, that there are all different
And more and
families.
more often
Yeah.
now that
It just
that's
goes-
what you see, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not a nuclear family with a mum
Yeah.
and a dad.
Yeah.
It
Quite
just goes
often
to
it's
show
a mum
that
or a dad, you
it
know.
does start with us. Like if we do say, you know, this is okay, this is what
They'll
some
grow
children
up
do
thinking,
have,
Yeah.
then it just plants a seed in a way, and it makes
Exactly.
it normal.
Yeah.
Asked how they would deal with discrimination against the teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we all came up with the fact that they'd go through the proper channels and actually take it as serious as it is, because they, you know,
They
there's
don't
no
stand
excuse.
for it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't stand.
So that pretty much wraps up our whole group project. The reason we decided that we wanted to do it on video and show you so we could really feel passionate about it,
Yeah.
because we really are. And
Show how we've
advocate it.
grown with the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to see us, or gives a better light to us actually communicating it on video rather than just written words. You know, you get to see.
That we know what we're talking
Yeah,
about, and we do feel passionate
We
about
sort
it
of help
and comfortable.
like someone would start talking and then
It would all just
Yeah, an authentic discussion.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
this is what we've been doing from the beginning. We keep discussing it, and we get these big heated
debate.
Yeah, and that is captured better by video footage than just
Yeah,
written
definitely.
words.
So we hope
You enjoyed.